I went to 3 separate stores looking specifically for like a to-do snack making kit. But all the stores I went to, they didn't have it. All they had were like pre-made snacks. But obviously snacks should come pre-made. So the last place I went to was the grocery store that's in front of my house, and I was giving up hope. So I ended up picking up this huge variety pack of Korean snacks so I could just eat them with you guys. And I was like, damn, what does a girl have to do in order to do like manual labor for her snacks? I'm trying to make some snacks, not like just eat some snacks, you know? So my mind started thinking of ideas like, should I like get certain snacks and then melt off the chocolate and then re-dip it into the chocolate? And I was like, that's a bit too much. And then right when I was about to leave the grocery store, I saw this at the counter.
Very good.
There's like a chocolate making one and the cookie decorating one. I would like to start with the chocolate mushrooms. This is what it comes with. The instruction says to put it in warm water for 2 to 3 minutes, and then there's this cute mold we can start filling up. But while the chocolate is melting, I sort of wanted to get into the topic of today's video. I was really stuck on what topic I wanted to talk about. The original video that I had in mind, it was about dating and love and yada yada yada. But the more I stared at the outline, something wasn't clicking. I was like, this is like a topic I want to do, but it doesn't feel like 100% there, you know? And the ultimate topic that ended up coming to my mind is building a life that doesn't make sense to other people. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think this chocolate is melting. No, it should be fine. I'll give it 1 more minute. Ugh. So what we're going to do, squeeze this into... Hello? Okay, you guys get the idea now, right? In regards to building a life that doesn't make sense to others, this might sound very woo-woo and it's not very scientifically accurate, but for those of you guys who are into MBTI, I am an INFP. And if you guys aren't into MBTI or you're not really familiar with what it is, it's basically like a personality assessment online that tells you what type of personality you are. And there's like assigned figures to each personality type. It's fun. It was like trending in Korea, but then apparently now they don't really ask what your MBTI is. Anyways, as I said, I am an INFP, and INFPs are sort of known to be a little bit delusional. They like to live in their heads.
That's why you're the slowest in your class.
That's why you don't have a girlfriend.
You know Santa Claus isn't real, right?
What?
Right. Hmm?
What?
Let me search up some traits. INFP traits, pros and cons. So for the pros, we have deeply empathetic and compassionate, fiercely authentic and loyal, rich inner world and creativity, non-judgmental. The core cons: intense idealism, conflict and criticism aversion, prone to overthinking, strong need for solitude. Also, I'm already out of chocolate. What is going on? I still have 2 more to fill. Originally for college, I was trying to go to a music school. I was trying to go to Berkeley. That was like my dream school and I got in, but at the time there was like issue with like tuition and it was just way too expensive. So I was like, you know what? I'll just go to a state school. I confined myself to a structured box for the first time. And what I mean by that is like, I could have still gone to music school from a state school, but I don't know why I put in nursing because those are 2 completely different fields. These are the biscuits. This is how the chocolate turned out. Wow. Not very cute. Oh, actually it's pretty cute. We're gonna stick these in now. As I said, after I put myself in that box for the first time, that was truly, I believe, like the first turning point in my life because I was in the nursing program, I was working my ass off. Why was it no matter how much I did or if I just move on to the next level, I'll feel more fulfilled? That feeling just never really went away. And then long story short, I ended up changing my major into journalism and media studies. I felt like that was the major that resonated with me the most and the major that I could graduate in time along with my other peers. So after I graduated, I just could not bring myself to work a corporate job. First, People who have been working on one major for 4 years, they probably had a lot more internship experiences than someone who switched their major last minute. But the funny thing is, I ended up working so many random jobs. When I say random jobs, like I worked at restaurants, I worked at libraries, I worked managing an office when I shouldn't have been managing an office. I worked at a hair salon, I worked at a hagwon, which is like after school study place where you lock children up and you force them to study. And I worked at a doctor's office. I worked a lot of random jobs because I was trying to figure out what the next move was. Like in my early 20s, all I could think about at that time was music. I just wanted to do music so badly. That was like all consuming for me at the time. I thought the ultimate betrayal to myself would be working in an environment that I didn't want to work for the next like 50, 60 years of my life, just to regret my decision when I was older. If I end up having kids and my kids have kids and I end up becoming a grandma, I don't ever want to be the grandma to say like, you should chase your dreams because I couldn't chase mine. Ugh, like, ugh, that is not cool. I want to be a cool grandma. I want to be like, yeah, I did everything that I wanted to do in my life, and I'm so glad that you're here to witness all my glory still. This is what it looks like now. We're gonna pop these into the freezer for a bit. There's like remaining biscuits in here. I'm just gonna eat it. And that's when I sort of felt lonely for the first time in life, or I felt like I was a little bit behind because a lot of my friends, they were starting to get into corporate jobs, and some of them have been in corporate and they were climbing the corporate ladder. But whenever I would meet up with them and they asked me what I was doing, I'll be like, oh, I'm still working here, I'm still serving there. My life was just so stagnant. Like I was working like a bunch of places, but I was just walking around in one big circle. I wasn't going forward, I wasn't going back. I was just standing in one place, going round and round, thinking that I was moving forward because I was making money, but it wasn't moving forward in a sense of I was doing something for me. But once I started doing YouTube and my channel started growing a little bit, people started telling me like, oh, it's so cool that you're pursuing your dreams or you're choosing the other route. I'm so proud of you. I had an extremely hard time believing what anyone said because I think subconsciously I was already thinking everyone else's position was above mine. Everyone is better than me. Everyone has it all together. Everyone knows where their life trajectory is heading. And they have that sense of security, that 100% security that if they show up to their job 9 to 5 Monday through Friday year after year, they will 1, get paid, 2, there's a chance for them to get promoted, 3, they can expect a pay raise at one point in their career, or they can just look for a better company that pays them better. And that question is a question that I started thinking about a lot these days, because what is it about my friends or people that I know who are in corporate that makes them objectively better than me or what I'm doing? Where did this thought come from and why do I feel this way? And the conclusion that I came to is because I grew up in an Asian household, a pretty structured household where my parents wanted me to graduate high school, go to a good college, go into a stable job, work, have a family, and just live the rest of your life happily. If you think about it, that school of thought has been ingrained into me ever since I was born. It's what I've heard growing up, it's what I looked at growing up. So for me to sort of try to break out of that now after 25, 26 years later, of course it's going to be hard. I lived a certain way for the majority of my life, and for me to be like, oh no, everything is okay, I would think that's a little more weird. Unless you have the secret of knowing how to do that, please let me know because I'd love to not feel the way that I feel. Ooh. I've recently also been getting a lot of comments about people wanting advice on how to navigate certain relationships if, let's say, your family doesn't approve of what you want to do or you're not sure about if the decision you're making is the right decision. I guess so far in life, me making this move has been my biggest decision so far, and there will probably be even bigger decisions that I have to make later on in the future. Even with this decision, my mom was very against this idea and a lot of other people were iffy about it. My friends were like iffy but optimistic, more in the sense of like, it's your life, go explore, go figure it out. But my mom, who is a traditional modern woman. She was very against the idea. She was very scared of the idea because at the end of the day, there was no backbone to what I was trying to do or succeed. Like, let's say before I moved to Korea, I had 10 million subscribers. I feel like she would have been a bit more okay with me saying, oh, I'm gonna move to Korea. But for me to literally have nothing except for my savings and to be like, I'm gonna go to a new country, bye. That was a little crazy. I look back and I'm like, oh, that was a little crazy. And that's when I realized my mom is a little more lenient than I thought she was, because in the end, she ended up letting me go. Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is there was no one that could have guaranteed my success. I couldn't guarantee my own success. My mom couldn't guarantee my success. No amount of tarot videos that I saw on TikTok or YouTube could have guaranteed my success. And honestly, I think that guarantee of success mindset sort of scared some people, because I ended up losing friends, and it was the first time in my life where I heard someone say that they can't date me because I'm trying to pursue this YouTube thing. Hold on. I'm getting a little chilly. Ooh. It was a little strange to hear because, for instance, with my family, regardless if my mom was entirely against this idea or not, like, that's still my mom. I know she's still going to love me at the end of the day, and I know that she's still going to consider me her daughter. But strange in the aspect of, because it made me really just look at myself naked. It's like, I'm 26 years old. I'm in my late 20s. I'm in a creative field. I'm sustaining myself, but not enough to the point where I get to do whatever I want whenever I want. And in that moment, I had let that person, for a second, a brief second, I had allowed that person to diminish my accomplishments. And that's like the first time I realized, like, people my age now are starting to really look at conditions that their partners can have. It's like when you're younger and you're dating, it's like, oh, I like you, so I want to date you. We can make this all work together. We can go to college together. We'll suffer together. We'll graduate, blah, blah, blah. But then when you try to date in your late 20s, it's like, so what college did you graduate from? What job do you have? How much are you making? Where do you live? What floor do you live? Do you have roommates? Do you live by yourself? Those are the things that a lot more people are looking at now when it comes to the dating pool in my age. So after that experience, I had to journal because I was like, okay, what I'm thinking right now, I don't think it's quite healthy. So I want to share a tiny, actually it's not tiny. I just want to share a bit of what I wrote. Hopefully some of you guys can resonate with it. I wrote, this experience has forced me to look at the life I have chosen. The path I am on is unstable, uncertain, and at times incredibly lonely. It is a path that can feel scary, especially when I compare it to the lives other people are building around me. But to question my decisions now because they do not fit someone else's vision of stability would be a disservice to everything I have worked for. It would be a betrayal of the years of effort, sacrifice, and uncertainty that it took to get here. The truth is that I knew this path would come with sacrifices. I knew there would be moments when security felt far away. I knew there would be seasons when relationships would be more difficult because of distance, uncertainty, or the demands of the life I chose to build. Even with this in mind, keep pursuing your passions, keep creating, keep dreaming. This is the mountain you chose to climb, and there will be days when it feels impossibly steep. There will be days when you are exhausted, discouraged, and questioning whether any of it is worth it. There will be days when you feel bruised by disappointment and weighed down by uncertainty, but keep climbing anyways. Ooh, I feel a little naked right now. Also, I think my chocolate mushrooms are ready.
Oh yeah.
Let's pull this one out. Ooh. Maybe we gotta let these sit out for like a couple minutes because the chocolate is like really hard. But even after losing relationships, there was a friend that I made recently, and she told me, all you have to do is stand still. Just stay exactly where you are, and the people who are going to stay with you will stand right next to you. And in this lifetime, there are going to be so many people who come, stay for a bit, and then go, come again, stay for a bit and go. New people will come, old people will go. And in some sense, that brought me a lot of comfort, because I don't know, I think of I view every connection, I imagine everyone holding like a red string. Every connection that you have made in this lifetime, you're always going to be holding like a red string with them. So no matter how distant or far apart you guys are, even if the string gets looser and longer, you'll still be holding it. You still have a connection to that person and you have a connection that was made. And in some seasons of life, that string might be shorter and tighter. The string will always be there. And all we have to do is just stand exactly where we are. Because the people that will meet us, and the people that will leave. Ooh, this one looks like, yeah, looks nice. You know what? I get why people get the pre-made snacks now. This sort of tastes like shit. The final thing I wanted to talk about is mental health. This was also a comment that I have been seeing very often. You guys have been telling me that you guys can really sense the difference in like energy and my mood from my earlier videos to now. After I saw those comments today, actually, I watched one of my old videos and I was like,
ooh, girl, you were struggling so hard back then.
there was like no light in my eyes. I feel like I was nothing but an empty shell back then. But also it might look like I have light in my eyes because I put in color contacts, so it's like it looks like there's light back into my eyes. But I understood what you guys meant. And I just thought that was so funny because I'm the one who's filming and editing all these videos, but I don't really sense the progression until I actually sit down and look back on one of my old videos. For you guys to even notice that, I thought it was sort of funny, but at the same time I thought it was super cool. And that's how I know my meds are working. Anyways, just to dive into this topic, I mentioned it briefly in one of my videos before that I went to a psychiatrist in Korea to get help with my mental health. At that point, I had been in therapy for about a year. If anything, therapy made me very self-aware of what actions I'm doing and how it affects me and how it affects other people, but it wasn't changing the baseline of my anxiety. So if anything, like my self-awareness went up, but at the same time my anxiety was still very high, so these were progressively going up together. I don't know if you guys will find this interesting, but I thought it was quite interesting. But Korea's psychiatric system and America's psychiatric system is, I feel like it's completely different. I haven't been to a psychiatrist in America, but from what I know, like the medication I'm taking right now is Lexapro. People usually start off with Lexapro in America with one dose, and they give it like a trial run for like a month to 3 months, and then they either up the dose or change the medication, but it's like a very slow, steady process. In Korea, the first day I went, I had my intake, but he like prescribed me like 4 or 5 different medications for my anxiety. That itself gave me more anxiety because I was like, am I that mentally ill that I need to take 4 to 5 medications for anxiety? I brought that up to my doctor and he was like, oh, Korea's system is a little different because Korea, everyone is living like fast-paced. Everything has to be done fast. Everything just has to keep moving. If you're not seeing results with certain medications, they're either gonna cut it out or replace it like the following week. So in Korea, I have been meeting up with my psychiatrist like every 1 to 2 weeks. So I started off with like 4 or 5 different medications. It's been like 4 to 5 months now since I've been with my psychiatrist. But right now we're working with the steady dose. Everyone's experience is different on medication, and there's different medications that fit for different people. But if I were to explain my mind, even like a couple months ago when I first moved to Korea, and even before I moved to Korea, it felt like I was sitting in a cafeteria, like a food court, and you know how everyone's talking in the background and you can hear people talking? That's what it sounded like inside my mind, but I couldn't pinpoint like one conversation that was going on. So it's just like constant background noise that's like running through my head. In reality, that was just my anxiety and my overthinking and rumination just like bopping off the walls in my brain. I feel like Lexapro has really helped like quiet the voices. Do I feel Lexapro to the extent where it's like, oh my god, this medication has changed my life? No, because I still experience anxiety and I still have to deal with it. But I would say it's a lot more manageable. And also, if you were to completely take away the feeling or emotion of anxiety, I feel like that would take away a bit of the human in you, because humans need emotions like joy, fear, anxiety, excitement, anger. People should be able to feel a full spectrum of emotions to live a happy life. I'm just learning to live, laugh, love with it. Like, anxiety wants to be here one day. Okay, welcome. Stay as long as you want, but at one point you should get the fuck out because you don't pay rent. But after I started my medication, continuing therapy, reflecting more on life, the only quote that came up to my mind is build your own stability. I was the type of person who like lived off of external validation. In some aspects, it did push me to do better, because if someone told me no, or like I couldn't do something, it like fueled me in a way where it's like, you're gonna tell me I can't do this, that I'm gonna work 5 times as hard and make sure that I achieve it so I could get your validation. That is such a poor way to think, because at the end of the day, the acknowledgement that you've been waiting for from other people, it will amount to nothing if you don't believe it yourself. I realized I spent so much time chasing external stability that I never learned how to create internal stability. Like looking at myself in the mirror and saying like, you know what? You did a good job. You did do a good job. You kicked ass today. Like me, I'm going to stick with me for the rest of my life. Everyone else's comments, compliments, it's like a fleeting dopamine spike, you know? You get the dopamine hit when someone compliments you, but once you hit that top, you're looking for the next one already. You're waiting for what can I accomplish next so I can hear like another like, oh my god, I'm so proud of you. Oh my god, you're so cool. No. Don't get me wrong, compliments are great. What I'm trying to say is you should compliment yourself more. You should believe in yourself more instead of trying to get other people to get you to believe in yourself. I said that it wasn't good, but I ate everything. Now it's getting hot again. I don't know if what I said is all over the place, because I have my side obviously, but then I completely understand when other people have different opinions. And I think that's where a beautiful conversation can come out from, and people can learn through other people's differences. And that's just honestly the beauty of life. I am going to wrap up the video now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, because after I've said everything that I said and I said it out loud and I heard myself say the things out loud, it definitely helped me solidify my thoughts on this topic a lot better. If this video wasn't your cup of tea, don't worry. A vlog is coming, so please be patient. But until then, I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Forehead kiss!